I believe in Rashad Robinson. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for him.
This has been an amazing, amazing night. I love you, Heather. Heather talked about bravery. Being brave is following Heather McGee in any conversation, but not, there's not a place I wouldn't go with you, Heather. I learned really early on that having good people around you is what makes a good life. And so I am so lucky to see so many of you here tonight. I want to congratulate the other honorees. It is an honor to be here with you on this stage. Welcome, Jennifer, and congratulations. And thank you to North Star for always thinking about how to connect grant making to the true realities on the ground, understanding the needs of an effective activism and how we need to change our approach as needs change on the ground, not 3 years later, not 2 years later, but as things change on the ground. You are a true model of change in New York and a critical resource for change makers. I grew up on the last exit of the Long Island Expressway in a town called Riverhead. And when you grow up out in Riverhead, you still get New York news. And so you get New York news. And so I dreamed of living in New York City. It wasn't just for the style and the fashion, but I always knew that there was something happening. There was always a sense of energy. My family is here with me tonight. Who would sometimes have to listen to me talk about getting off of Long Island and getting into New York City, but who also supported my activism, my friends, my board members, my staff and colleagues and boyfriend. I am so, so incredibly lucky. So North Star's Let It Breathe Forum, which I had the privilege of being part of, launched a fund that has been so critical to grassroots groups in the city. For groups that are trying to figure out the most strategic approaches possible for building power. That's the goal. Building power for people who don't have nearly enough of it. And that takes resources and vision. So when North Star honors me and honors Color of Change, I believe they are also honoring a commitment to Black-led interventions that accelerate social change. And when I say Black-led or Black leadership or people of color leadership or immigrant leadership or women leadership, I don't just mean leading the chants at the rallies that white people organize or leading and creating an energy around activism that makes white people feel cool. I mean leading the strategy, leading the direction of activism, leading on developing the theory of change for both gaining power and using it well, and leading the masses of people of color and white people both into this fight. So I want to say something about this moment we are in, because a lot of folks, and in particular a lot of white folks, have been reactivated. People who sort of went back to their lives after the Obama 08, the post-racial end zone that we got ourselves into. People for whom keeping up with politics may have remained a hobby, but doing anything real about it fell down the list on what defined their identity. Even during Occupy or the movement for Black Lives, they sat out. But these people are up and moving around now for sure. We cannot pretend that we should be training them as if we know everything about what activism is, because what we know is not enough. That's what leadership is. Creating new knowledge, new insights, new approaches. That's why Color of Change was founded, to create new infrastructure, new aligned communities, new strategies, while harnessing the best of what came before us. We were founded in the aftermath of a flood in the Gulf Coast that was caused by bad decision makers that turned into a life-altering disaster by those same bad decision makers. And while black people were on their roofs demanding the government do something, and they were left to die, we not only saw all the issues of generational poverty and geographic segregation, but at the heart of it, no one was nervous about disappointing black people. And so as we build in this new era, we must be clear about what solidarity really looks like. We cannot get pushed back to our old ways where black people or people of color were in the back of the bus for strategy conversations and for the planning and the evaluation of what stories or tactics or innovations would work. It's not just our stories or chants that will win. It is our belief in the ability to drive a new tomorrow. You don't get to a new and winning strategy on district attorneys the way that we have been building at Color of Change with so many other organizations across the country, which is not only opening up new levers to end mass incarceration, but also activating new sets of voters. This kind of innovation can only come from leadership from those who are at the most at stake. And right now, I think it's important for us to understand the threat in front of us. This time, the right wing didn't just take power with a promise for change, but rather a promise to change all the rules. And that's dangerous, because if we decide to respond the same ways we always have, to not recognize that the rules have changed, to think that judicial rulings might be implemented the same way or that policy will work the same way. We need movement building and narrative change in a whole new way. We can't simply legal our way out of this or policy our way out of this or nonprofit executive direct our way out of this. And so it will take an opposition movement that is really clear about what it takes to fight to win, to hold the enablers accountable, those that decide that on one hand they want to have a relationship with our community and on the other hand want to have a relationship with this administration. You cannot have it both ways. We have to hold the enablers, the cultural enablers, the political enablers, the media enablers, and the corporate enablers accountable. That is the only way that we fight. That is the only way that we win. And I want to say that when I talk about winning, I just don't mean winning an argument or winning an election. I mean winning the type of real victories that so many of the grantees from the North Star Foundation are working to win in their communities. The type of victories that make people's lives better. So when we come back to them years from now, we are not just having a rhetorical conversation about whether the left should govern, but we are having a conversation about how and why people's lives have been made better. So I want to end by saying, go big or go home is cliche. But for many movements on the left, it's cliche, but I don't know if we've actually answered the question before. And I'm not sure we've supported one another enough at the level required to show what going big would really look like. But this is our moment. Color of Change is willing to work with anyone who is ready to go big. The right wing is not going home, and I'm not going home either. My staff and colleagues are not going home, and I know that North Star isn't going home. Our communities are not going home, and neither should you. You honor me with this award. You honor Color of Change and our members with this award. Thank you for your work and for your support of this amazing organization. And let's dance.